Welcome everyone. My name's Kathryn Eggins and I'm from kathryneggins.com, and I'd like to welcome you along to today's live stream where I want to talk about developing your manifesting powers. Now, I've taken a couple of months off purely because I just got to a place where everything became very overwhelming and I just needed to stop and sort out the things that were going on in my head, because the last 2 years I was thrown in the deep end where everything changed, and I've had that happen a few times over probably the past 10 years, which when it happens, I see it as a good thing. But this particular one, I've really kept pushing through, and it's finally all come to a head about 2 months ago, and I just had to stop. And I'm really glad I did, because I sorted out a lot of things, just having that space to stop and figure things out. But I was also getting into a little bit of a rut and having negative thoughts and all that kind of thing. And it's not a great place to be, but it's also keep putting one foot in front of the other, keep moving forward and keep having this awareness about what's going on and what you're thinking, what you're feeling, why you're creating what you're creating, because in the end we do create our own lives. We are fully responsible for our own life, the choices that we make. And I know there are choices that I'm making that are keeping me where I am. I'm choosing to make those choices because I do see a bigger picture at the end. So I won't go into details what they are, because I also believe with manifesting that you do keep some things to yourself. You don't go sharing it with the world, because then you start getting other people's opinions, other people's thoughts. There are things that you do need to get out and talk to people about, but other things, yeah, just keep them there, because you quietly know that down the track things are going to work out the way that you want them to. So one of the big things that has come up for me just in these last couple of days was last week I crewed an event called Success Squared. Gary Vee was the headlining act. Now, if you know who Gary Vee is, you either know who he is or you don't. And for a lot of people who do know who he is, it was very, very exciting that he was here. There were 2,000 people at the convention centre. So it was a really big deal, and it was a great event, and I'm so glad that I was there. The crew were amazing. I met some really amazing people and caught up with some amazing people that I've met before at other events. And it was just something that I really needed to do. And it actually made me think, because at the end of it, we got to meet Gary Vee and have a group photo taken with him. And even though it was just a passing, it was only a couple of minutes that it actually happened. We were just there in the photo queue with all the people who had actually paid for the cocktail party and the extra bonuses and everything, which included a photo with Gary Vee. Because we'd crewed the event, they allowed us to have a photo with him, he allowed us to have a photo with him. And so it was just come in, have the photo taken, and everyone goes on their merry way. And that's not the norm. That doesn't always happen. And in fact, it's the only event that I've crewed at that it's happened. So it was very, very exciting, and something that it just snapped me out of this funk that I've been in, because it made me realise the ease of manifesting, and how when things are going wrong or feel like they're going wrong, because everything is actually going right all the time, it's going right, but we can also get in our own way and stand in our own way and cause this resistance that causes the upset and just makes things harder than they need to be, because manifesting what you want is really easy. We're just taught that we're taught to show, move away from our manifesting powers and face reality and take the safe route. And that's where it all goes wrong, where so many people end up being unhappy because they're taught this, they're taught one thing, they feel another, but they follow a safe route. They're not happy following that safe route. Whereas if they follow their heart, yes, the road might have been hard, because one of the things Gary Vee said in his speech was that being an entrepreneur is not easy. And that's really, if you're an entrepreneur, you're someone who follows your heart and you want to create this life for yourself on your terms. But you have all this other garbage that builds up of things that you're taught to believe and routes that you're supposed to follow and things you're supposed to do. And if kids are allowed to be kids and develop into who they are as people, they're going to be a lot happier and a lot more successful if they're given those tools rather than fitting into this box that society says we need to fit into. So it made me think about the fact that I, for myself, manifested this meeting of Gary Vee. And there were other people there that met him. It wasn't just me, but this is about what happened in my life, and they've all manifested it in their own way. But I just wanted to talk about what I was thinking and feeling beforehand for this to happen. But it also reminded me of a couple of other significant events in my life that I manifested as well. And I wanted to share this with you so you could get in touch with what you're thinking and feeling and see how you're manifesting what you're manifesting in your life, because everything that's happening in your life has happened. It's all a manifestation of thoughts, feelings, and focus, what you're focusing on, because there's so much happening in this world that we're not aware of. And it's purely because of where our thoughts, feelings, and focus is, where our beliefs are. That's what we choose to see. Like, there are people who are scared all the time. This is why I don't watch the news and why a lot of people don't watch the news, because the media sensationalizes everything and puts this fear out into the world, whereas I choose not to watch the news. I'm still aware of things that are going on, but I choose not to sit down and focus on the negativity, because I want to see the good in the world and feel the world is a safe place and be able to travel freely and enjoy myself and not be looking out for these negative things all of the time. And an example of that is that I'm currently living on a property out in the country, and last year there was a fire on a neighbouring property that had started on the highway, and it was only 1.5 kilometres from my house. I had no idea that this fire was going on. No one had come and knocked on the door to say, get out, which they would if that was the case, if the fire was a threat, but it wasn't. They had it under control, but it made the news because it was quite a big fire. So I had all these people contacting me who were afraid because of what they were seeing on the news, when in actual fact, I was right there and I had no idea it was happening. So this is where, and I wasn't in any danger. And that's the thing. The media made it out to be this scary event, and it wasn't at all. So be really careful if you're watching the news as to what you take on board and how that affects your life, because you're watching someone else's situation that's sensationalized by the media, and then that puts a fear into you. Whereas if you hadn't actually seen that, you wouldn't have that fear. So think very seriously about that for a start with, what you're manifesting in your life, the fears that you have, and where they're actually coming from. Who has put that into your head? What's happened in your life directly to make that happen? But what are the external factors that, if you weren't made aware of them by somebody else, whether it's another person, the media, or whatever, if you weren't made aware of it, would it be affecting your life? Is it directly within your vicinity and, affecting your life, or is it something that's external and you've got no control over it, and it doesn't really matter if you're aware of it or not? So have a look at that. Turn off the TV. Get out there and live your life. It says, if you're watching the TV, you're watching someone else live their life. It's as simple as that. But getting back to developing your manifesting powers and creating the things that you do want in your life. I'm an experiences person, so I'm quite good at manifesting experiences that I want to achieve. So there's 4 particular ones that come to mind. One is meeting Gary Vee. Another one is an experience that I had with Katie Lang, who is my all-time favourite singer. I've got Katie Lang and Prince as my favourite entertainer. So, and there is a difference. They're both great singers, but one's more of an entertainer, one's more of a singer, and I love them both for who they are and being who they are. That's a huge thing, of allowing yourself to be yourself and not worrying about what other people think, just being yourself and being true to who you are. That's a whole other story. We'll talk about that another time. But just the other one is careers that I've wanted, and I've spoken about this a lot. My career in radio when I first left school, and also my career that took me overseas entertaining as a singer. Now, with the entertainment and well, actually with all of these things, it's the same basic principles that work for creating what you want. They are slightly different for each part of your life. Like manifesting a career, slightly different to manifesting an experience with meeting people. Health is another one that I've found. I've gone from being really sick to manifesting great health, and I have found that journey to be slightly different, and I will talk about that another day. I just want to talk about today about just manifesting, well, the careers and the experiences and that kind of thing. So, and what I was thinking and feeling beforehand, it all comes down to developing the manifestation within yourself, of having it there as a done deal, because that's where the manifestations start. They start within you. They're a done deal. You send that energy out into the universe, and then the universe works, rearranges all the little building blocks of life to bring your manifestation to you. It's as simple as that. But what gets in the way are our beliefs, thoughts, feelings, everything. So that's where you need to bring your awareness to what you're thinking, feeling, and what your beliefs are. Are your beliefs truly yours? Do you believe it's possible? If you don't believe it's possible, it won't happen. It won't matter how much you try and manifest something, it won't happen. If you try to make it happen, it won't happen. And this is where a lot of people get it wrong, because they're trying to make something happen. They're trying to force it to happen rather than just knowing it's going to happen and leaving it up to the universe to bring it to you. So in the case of, let's say that Katie Lang one, that's the one that keeps popping into my mind. Now, when I was performing overseas, so this was the career that we went overseas, and I was in Germany, and I was working at performing at the World Expo in Hanover. This was in the year 2000. And while we were there, Katie Lang was on tour, and we were in Hanover and she was in Berlin. So I organised to have this weekend off. And while I was over there, I tried to learn German. It was one of the things that I found the hardest was that all the Germans wanted to speak English. So it was, I quite often was told, don't waste my time, I can speak English. So I can speak a little bit of German, but I ended up speaking English a lot more, purely because it got everything happening a lot quicker over there. But when I went to buy these tickets for the show, the girl who was selling the tickets, she couldn't speak English. But thankfully, Katie Lang and Berlin is pretty much the same in both languages. So that's all I could say was Katie Lang, Berlin, zweimal, I knew that. And so for 2 tickets, because my mum was coming with me, she'd come over to Europe. And so I bought these 2 tickets. Had no idea where I was sitting or anything. All I knew was I had 2 tickets. That's all that mattered. So in the lead up, there were a few weeks after buying the tickets and going to the show. So in the lead up, I started dreaming about singing on stage with Katie Lang, and not putting too much thought or doubt into it. I mean, that's a pretty extreme dream to have, but that's the whole thing with dreaming. You can dream anything, and you don't have to go, oh, that'll never happen. Just dream, have fun with it, and get all these exciting feelings running through your body about the possibility that this could happen. So that was a dream that came up every day for me, was just dreaming about and singing on stage with Katie Lang, and I was thinking about the song that I'd like to sing or that we would sing, and I had been to Berlin, so I had an idea of the venue. I hadn't been in the venue, but I imagined the venue, and it just felt really good of allowing this dream, this fantasy to flow through my body of singing on stage with Katie Lang. But a little part of me had this fear of singing on stage with Katie Lang, even though I was over there performing myself. She is just such an amazing singer, and this fear of not being good enough was coming up of singing on stage and making a mistake or not being able to hit a note or through being nervous, that kind of thing. So while I had this feeling and I could imagine her standing near me singing and how that would feel, because when you get a really powerful singer singing right near you, there's this amazing energy. And even she spoke of that when she sang with Roy Orbison, when she sang Crying as a duet, and the energy that came from him. So I imagine that of singing on stage with her and just feeling this energy and how good that would feel. But I had this slight fear of actually doing that. And they were two separate things, that this feeling of being there and she was there, she was singing, and how great that would feel, that was just a done deal. That was going to happen. But this fear of actually me singing, that was like, oh, I don't know if I could do that. So this went on every day. I didn't make it happen. It was just something that kept coming up, and I thought, yeah, that would be really nice if that happened. So we go to the show, go all the way over to Berlin. I knew where the venue was, so we found the venue. And we went inside and I showed the usher the tickets, and he just pointed and said, oh, you're sitting down there. So I went down and there were people sitting where I thought he said we were sitting. So I went back to him and said, oh, somebody's there. And he said, no, you're in the front row. So we went and we sat in the front row, and I was on the edge. I was on the aisle. I thought, wow, this is fantastic, because that's something else that you dream of, sitting up the front, but I didn't ask to sit up the front. They were just the tickets that happened to be the ones that we bought, because all I could say was Katie Lang and Berlin, zweimal. That's how I got those tickets. So we're sitting there, and the theatre was tiered seating. So the seat was theatre seating. So it went up and the stage was down the bottom, and the stage was, this high. And there was a space of about 1 metre between us, or maybe more, metre, maybe 2 metres between the front row and the stage. So that was great. We just had this perfect view of the stage, and I was so excited. But I still had this dream floating around inside of me. So the show starts, she comes out, and she's performing on the stage, and she had no shoes on. I remember that, earthing, connecting with the stage, the wooden stage and everything, and it was just magic. It was, I really loved the music that she had out at the time, and it was just, I was just in my element, just soaking up this concert. But then all of a sudden, while she's singing, she came down off the stage, she came right up to me and was like this far away from my face, singing. And I was just in disbelief, because she was there, she was looking straight at me, and she was using a technique that I'd learned as a singer, and that is, you look here. You don't look someone directly in the eye, because when you look someone in the eye, they've got you. All of a sudden there's this connection, and they can actually throw you off. And I probably, quite frankly, had this stunned mullet look on my face, and I know I grabbed my mum's hand and I think I broke her hand, but I was just frozen. But I was in disbelief that what I'd been feeling of having her stand like right next to me singing was actually happening. And it's moments like those when the manifestation comes to life, that you can understand how easy it is to manifest what you want, and the difficulty that you put in place of things rather than just allowing them to flow. So she stayed there for a minute or so, and then she went on and finished the show. And honestly, I was more than happy with that. I didn't need to get up and sing on stage or anything, because that was, when I think back of what I was thinking, feeling and dreaming about, I didn't see her coming over to the seat, but I was focusing on what felt really good was her being next to me and singing. And I will never, ever forget that moment. But also thinking back to how that developed and how I let that unfold. A similar thing with meeting Gary Vee was that just floating around in the back of my mind, I've been watching him online for a couple of years, and know his background, his story and everything. And I thought, it'd be really cool to meet Gary Vee. I just really like everything that he's about. So that's just floating around and, just sort of not anticipating how it would happen, but just thinking, yeah, that'd be great. But allowing the feeling to come in of what it would feel like to meet Gary Vee. So the last year he was in Brisbane and the opportunity came up to crew at this event. So I thought, great, I'll just be in the same room as Gary Vee. That'll be great. So I went along, crewed the event, and that's as far as it went. He did his show and off he went, and I crewed the event and had a great time. I love event management, so it was great being in there, and all the crew are there because they want to be there, and it's just a great environment. So that was fine. But then it came up again that it was advertised that he was going to be speaking, and he was the headlining act this time, or the headline speaker. And I thought, when the crewing opens, I'm going to apply for that. And it actually took a lot longer for the email to come out this time. But finally, a couple of weeks before the event, the email came through. Straight away I was online, signed up, hell yes. And that's the other thing too, when something comes up and it's a hell yes, I have to do this, do it. Because even if it scares you, if you're being called to do something, that's the universe going, I am guiding you. Here's my guidance, my message. The universe isn't there like another person guiding you. It sends you messages, and it's keeping your eye out for these messages. Same with Katie Lang. She was, we're a couple of hours. Hanover's a couple of hours by train or car. No, we drove. That's right, I drove there. So it's a couple of hours. And I did have to rearrange, get someone else to do the show because it was weekend. And, but it's getting the message that there it is. There's your opportunity. The universe is showing you the opportunity and taking it. So I got online, signed up to do the crewing. And it's a process. You apply for it and then they come back and they say yes or no. So I got into the crewing. Still no expectations that, I haven't crewed an event before where we actually got to meet the speakers, except for Janine Ellis. She always, when she speaks, she always comes out and speaks to the crew. So that's always been a great thing and very much appreciated because she has a lot of great advice to pass on. But this particular one, it was great. I just want to be a part of this event because Gary Vee's there and it would be an opportunity to listen to him speak. So I went along and then we found out a couple of days beforehand that they'd organised for this group photo. So I started to think, okay, how do I want this to pan out? And rather than, because you don't know how many people are going to be crewing, there could be a dozen, there could be 50. I've crewed on different events, so you just don't know. And I was thinking, okay, how do I want this to unfold so that I'm not, getting there to that moment and then thinking, and ending up right on the end, rather than in the action and in the middle of it, but not forcing it, just allowing it to happen. So I just imagined I wanted it to happen, and I wanted to get myself placed into a position that I was near him in the photo. I didn't want to have to push anyone out of the way. It was just going to work out that way that's where I would be placed. And that's what happened. I didn't try to force it, didn't try to make it happen. I just allowed it to flow. And this is a really big thing when you're manifesting what you want, is not trying to force it, to dream it, feel it, allow that to flow through your body, but let it go and allow it to happen. Still keep your awareness of how you want it to unfold, but don't force it, because as soon as you start forcing it, you're starting to offer resistance, and then it all just goes to shit, basically. You've got to allow it to unfold. And also it's allowing to unfold, knowing that it's going to happen, but being okay if it doesn't happen. And it can be a bit of a tricky one. And this is where it takes a bit of practice and a bit of allowing yourself to be human and go, yeah, okay, all right, I can see where I messed that one up. But pulling yourself up on it too, that when you do feel yourself starting to force something, to go, no, hang on, no, just allow it to happen. And knowing within yourself that it will happen and that you don't have to do anything. Just be aware of what's happening in the moment and allow things to unfold. Now, career-wise, the lead up to me getting my job in radio, which was, if you don't know the story, it was basically in high school, I wanted to be a radio announcer. When I left school 3 weeks after leaving high school, I had a job in radio doing everything a radio announcer would do except speak, which was perfect because even though I wanted to be a radio announcer, I was too scared to speak in front of anyone, too scared to speak into a microphone. And while I had this fear, I still had this feeling inside of me that I just knew that I'd be working in radio, doing what I wanted to do, and that I would sort that bit out later to not let that get in the way. So it was similar to the meeting or the experience with Katie Lang, and that is that part of it was definite, this is a done deal, and there was a slight fear. And both of them unfolded perfectly because I didn't have to the fear didn't get in the way, but what I was dreaming about and feeling and desiring all unfolded. I got everything that I wanted, everything that I was expecting. And the lead up, when I was in high school, I found myself associating with people in radio, getting to know them. I went into a radio station a few times. I entered a top 40 competition, and it was to host Take 40 Australia, which was the big top 40 program, and it played every week. And I got through. I won the Queensland section, and I got through that on my art. And you had to say in 25 words or less why you wanted to win this. So I did it up, and I did the Take 40 Australia, and I had the letters, and my 25 words came off that. And did it all up, drew very nice. I drew their logo and yeah, because this was in the days before computers. It was all done by hand and everything, and sent it off, and it got me through to the finals. And there again, it's following the guidance from the universe. Like when the competition came up and they said 25 words or less, that's what popped into my head to do. So I followed my heart. I did up the entry that way, sent it off, and just kept this feeling of being in the studio and recording this program and everything. And so as a result of winning the Queensland final, I got to go to Stereo 10, which was the top 40 station at the time back in the 80s. Got to go in and record a demo. So that experience, that was, I didn't end up winning. The girl from South Australia, she won the competition, but I had actually got everything that I wanted. I had a fear of actually winning the competition, but I had this desire to go into the studio and record this demo and everything. So all this was unfolding of leading into wanting to be in radio. So that just reinforced how much I really wanted it. And, I had these friends in radio and spent time in radio stations and everything. But I ended up working in a completely different radio station. And through working at that radio station, which ended up wasn't top 40, it was the station my parents listened to, which was sort of, for a 17-year-old, sort of like, gee, we listen to all these old daggy songs. But through learning all those old daggy songs, I have developed a huge appreciation for all these different types of music. It just expanded my musical knowledge. And that has since been part of, something that it's actually helped me a lot later with my entertainment career. So while I wasn't aware of it at the time, there was still this little thing inside of wanting to be a singer, and that slowly developed, over the next 12 months. While I was working at the radio station, I realised I didn't want to be playing the songs anymore. I wanted to be singing them. And so I started to get this feeling inside of feeling myself performing on stage, even though I was too scared to get up and sing or too scared to speak into a microphone. I just felt that was what was going to happen. It was a done deal. And I just let it go, allowed everything to unfold. And then by the year 2000, I'm standing on stage performing to thousands of people at a World Expo as part of an Australian band. So the basics of it really is getting it a done deal inside, thinking about what you want, dreaming it. Dreaming is such an important thing of allowing it to flow through your body and feeling it as a done deal, but then letting it go and allowing it to unfold, but keeping that feeling, keeping that vibration within you, that you just know that it will unfold, and that you're keeping your awareness open so that when you can see the opportunities come up, that you'll take them. And like even with getting into entertainment, that I worked at the radio station for a while, and then things started to not feel right. It was time to leave, so I left there. And for a while there, I did a modelling tour, which was all down the coast, and that was something that was sort of, I was doing modelling when I was younger, and this modelling tour was something that came up every year, and everyone wanted to do it, and I finally got onto this tour, so did that, and that was amazing. Then I came back and I just had a few odd jobs. I worked at Macca's and worked in a coffee lounge for a while, and I did bar work. I found out I really suck at bar work, and that's not for me. But through working at the club where I was working, the son of the manager, I think, or the whoever was the top dog at the radio station anyway, he came in to where I was working one night, and he said, "We're looking for a panel operator. Are you interested?" And by this point, I'd been to America. I'd worked at a summer camp over there, and that's where I overcame my fear for singing in front of people, because I got up at a karaoke. And so when I came back, I wanted to work at karaoke shows, and I could feel it in my bones. But because I was working at a club, Friday and Saturday nights, I just said, no, don't ask for Friday and Saturday nights off. You have to work here. So I thought, okay, all right, something will happen. Something will unfold. And, just keep my eyes open, but kept feeling it inside. One day I'll be doing this. So he came in. Are you interested? I said, yes. So dropped everything, went back to the radio station. That lasted 2 weeks. And all of a sudden I left there and I went, oh, my God, now I can go run karaoke shows. And that's where my entertainment career started. I started running these shows. That's where I met my partner, and because he also had a karaoke business, and that's how we met up. But he was also an entertainer, so his background was entertainment. And so we got into that, and then that took us around the world. So the entertainment took us around the world, karaoke took us around the world, and because we got into running the Karaoke World Championships, which is a world event, and when I think back to how all of this unfolded, none of it's a surprise, because I felt it within me to start with. It was already there. And what I would like you to do is to think back to things, amazing things that have happened in your life, things that you probably wish didn't happen in your life, and just what you were thinking and feeling in the lead up to that. And for the things that did unfold, how did that feel? What did you actually feel inside of you? What were you dreaming? And how did you allow that to flow? Whereas the things that haven't worked out, what resistance did you put up? What fear did you have? And, and fear is such a big thing, because fear is from the ego. And this is where watching the news is not a good idea, because the ego takes it in. It just works on experiences and beliefs, things it's told. And it's there to protect you. The fear is there to protect you, but it can then get out of hand because it goes over the top, and it starts making you fearful of steps that you should take. And, you can tell the difference between whether a fear is there to protect you or whether it's just holding you back from taking that next step. And they're the fears that you really need to push through to take that next step to create the life that you want to create. Because, well, in my case, my fear of singing, of the night that I got up to sing at this karaoke bar in America, the second I walked into that bar, I just had this overwhelming feeling that said, you have to get up and sing tonight. You cannot leave without getting up to sing, because I knew that I would regret it if I didn't. And I'm so glad that I did. I got someone else to get up with me. And it's there again, it's doing what you need to do to make it happen. I got someone else to come up with me instead of just sitting back and going, oh, no, I'm too scared to do it. Facing those fears, getting up. So sit down with yourself and just really go through it of what are you afraid of? What fears have been holding you back? But also those dreams that you've had, that you're aware that you have manifested what you wanted and how it flowed. And something else I was thinking about just this morning was that all of these things that I've manifested, I haven't journaled on any of them. Now, I think journaling is amazing. It's a great way to get your thoughts out, get your feelings out, and it has really, really helped me over the last 2 years to process a lot of things, because I've found that as I've gotten older, there's a lot of baggage that comes along as you go along compared to, manifesting now compared to manifesting when I was younger. By 17, you've already got enough baggage, but you get to mid-40s, there's been a few things that have happened and a few different beliefs that have come in and things that I've had to work through. So journaling has been great for me in that regard of getting my beliefs in order of what beliefs I've got that belong to other people, and what are my true beliefs, who I am at the core, and getting to the base of that. But journaling, there are some very successful people out there who use journaling to write their future. And I'm totally on board with that. But I've also realized that the things that I have manifested that seemed impossible, I didn't journal on any of them. They were just feelings and dreams that I had within me, and I allowed that to flow within me. And that's where journaling, that, there is a connection between the brain and the pen and writing it on paper. There's definitely a connection there, and it can help to get your mind very clear and to get your focus on to what you want in the future. If you've got these dreams, just allow the dreams to unfold. Don't be afraid to dream. Don't worry about what anyone else thinks. And this is where I feel that keeping your dreams to yourself is really beneficial, of just going, hey, you know what? I know this is going to happen. This is how it's going. Or this is what I want to have unfold. Don't share them with people, because then they'll just go, you're dreaming. Stop dreaming. Face reality. And honestly, they're only coming from what they know, from their own beliefs. And there are a lot of people out there who don't realize that there is this extra dimension where you can dream and you can connect with the universe and create the life that you want. So if you're that way inclined, keep it to yourself. If you want to explore that more, just do it within your own space and develop it within yourself, and enjoy the magic that comes with it, and allowing it to unfold, and be aware of what is unfolding, and then look at it and go, okay, what was I thinking and feeling? If somebody comes into my life and they sort of come in sideways, and I sort of go, oh, where did you come from? I look at it and I go, okay, why did I attract this person? Because it used to be years ago, and this came from running karaoke shows, where I started to become afraid of people, because add ego and alcohol, and people can get quite abusive and, verbally abusive, and being very unreasonable about it. But, they get up and they sing, and they want to keep getting up and singing, but they don't realize 30 other people want to get up and sing as well. And, just things like that. So I started to become quite fearful of people. I didn't want to be around people. But then we moved out, and, we went in a different direction that involved working with people, but in a different capacity. And I saw people in a different light. And I've actually started to be able to see the good in people and see the light shining in people. So now I'm only attracting really amazing people into my life, but occasionally you get this person will sneak in. They'll find a crack in the ether there, or whatever it's called, and they'll come in, and it's like, okay, what do I need to change within me to see the good in this person, but also send them on their merry way? And I learned this working customer service just recently, because I did go back to working in fitness and working for a facility, and it just gave me a different approach to working with people, as to, if somebody came up and they were quite abusive, that was actually a reflection of what was happening within me. So once I realised that, could start to get on top of that, all of a sudden those people, they went and found someone else to abuse. I attracted the nice people. So that's another thing. If you're attracting those people that aren't being very nice, take a look within. Forgive them and take a look within and heal that part of you, because that's all that everything's happening in your life is a reflection of what's happening within you. So when you can start to take responsibility for that and start taking responsibility for your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs, and how that is unfolding in your life, you can change your life. You can turn everything around and start creating the life that you want, because right now your life is a result of your thoughts, feelings, beliefs, and you have the power to change it all. I'd love to hear from you. Let me know your comments. Let me know if anything has come up for you that you're not quite sure about. If you've got any questions, please ask. Preferably leave a comment below, because that way, you know, what your question could help other people. So, because if you're thinking something, if you've got a question, chances are someone else is thinking it. And it's like when you do a show and you get up on stage and no one claps, and everyone comes up at the end and says, "Oh, I wanted to clap, but no one else clapped." It's because they're waiting for you to clap. So don't be afraid to ask a question. There are no silly questions, and it's the smart people who ask questions because they want to learn, they want to get out there and they want to know more. So don't be afraid to ask. If you are unsure about asking, if you do want to send a private message, that's fine. Send a private message and we can go from there. But if you are open to sharing and helping other people, please ask your question below, because then you can help somebody else simply by asking your question. Don't be afraid to ask. There are no silly questions. Just ask, and because I want to help you to create the life that you want and understand this manifesting, how it all works, and how you are in more control than you're probably giving yourself credit for. That it's just this amazing ability that we all have, and I'd love to help you develop it. Now, if you would like to get in and develop it more, if you want more info, you can get into Unleash Your Manifesting Mojo, and I'll put that link in the comments. Where are they? Over here or below, wherever you're watching. I'll put the link in there. Go and have a look, because it's a program that I've developed to get more in depth into how manifesting works, the actual letting go, receiving, the dreaming, the thinking, the feeling, everything. It's all in there. So it's you can go through that and help yourself to develop your manifesting powers, because if you're that way inclined, honestly, you're already ahead of the 8 ball in front of so many other people, and developing those powers, you can create anything that you want. And I want to help you get there. So talk to me, let me know what you'd like to know. And even if there's something that you would like to know more about that I can do another live stream on, let me know. But thank you for watching. It's been great to get back online and back into the flow of things. So I'm excited to start sharing more. So thank you very much. My name's Kathryn Eggins from KathrynEggins.com. Go check it out, and I'll catch you again soon. See you then. Bye.